And then kind of bring me to the last section of it is, will there be a CrossFit HQ return? We've talked about the restructure that needs to happen at the CrossFit Games. There's a lot of people that are in there. We talked about on the Chris Cooper podcast where we were saying like, hey, once you get to so much levels of management, nothing just gets done. Everybody's siloed off and nobody knows, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. And you end up wasting a lot of money within that time frame. And it ends up not being good. So with that, if they decide to prune everybody off, the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is to say, hey, I've set up CrossFit HQ in Santa Cruz. It feels appropriate to have the office here. There's a small affiliate. This is one of the first initiatives. If you are on the leadership or executive team, you have X amount of time to move to this location or spend a certain amount of time each month in this location where everybody is together. And if you want to continue your job at CrossFit, you have X amount of time to get here. And it would shake out right away, because the people that are absolutely in love with doing that job at CrossFit HQ and wanted to continue to see it grow were, more so mission driven than money driven. I think they're going to go along. I think you'll see them say, okay, that's no problem. I can either make those times work or I'll relocate to Santa Cruz. It's going to be very interesting to see if that actually happens. I don't know if Bruce is a complete fan of the remote work or not, but I do know that the company's at a point now to where it needs to be treated like a startup, and especially on the executive level, which I would imagine is going to cut out a lot of the middle management. You need to be able to make those decisions, flush out what exactly needs to happen to execute on them, and then immediately get executing on them, to where each person is has a sense of responsibility over what it is that they're doing and why they're doing it. Right now, even just have a little bit of, on the internal that I've had over this last year, as it's leaderless, nobody really has accountability. Hey, whose job was this? Oh, it got hung up with so-and-so. You go to so-and-so. Oh, it got hung up with this, or they blame this person or that person. And when you have multiple layers of bureaucracy, it's the easiest way to get out of accountability. There's no who's in charge here? I don't know. This guy, we don't even know what we're doing. It's ridiculous. Mason Startup says, who wouldn't want to live in Santa Cruz? It's a beautiful place. Jump ship, I hope you're right. You have to be a millionaire to relocate there. Yeah, that's true. I hated living in Santa Cruz because it was too expensive. Yeah, Santa Cruz is expensive. Traffic's terrible. And it wouldn't necessarily even need to be a long-term thing. Like you might say, hey, for the next 48, next 48 months, something like that, a little over 2 years to be here, and then maybe it changes. Who knows? But I do think that the management team, the executive level team, needs to be at least in the same physical building for a pretty good stretch of time each month at a minimum. Less than 1% is our business. So it's so rare. Yeah, I mean, it is rare, and it's only getting rarer. Like more and more people are comfortable with the remote work from home. And I think some jobs you're fine with that. Like you don't necessarily need accounting in the same building as you. Some of the content creators that are out on the road and traveling, you don't need to have them in the same building with you. But I think if you have the CEO, the CFO, the COO, whoever that is, if they announce somebody, the CMO, the director of the games, like you need to have a handful of that executive leadership in the same building. I just firmly believe it. Like I think you would just get more done with that than you necessarily would by having everybody like decentralized all of the time. Sounding a lot like the military. I mean, I could see how you could see that it's going to be that way. But honestly, like that's what's needed right now. You need to bring back in some sort of discipline and get everybody moving in the same direction and working quickly. Working quickly. Mason Startup Media should be in the building, in my opinion. It's funny that you mentioned that because somebody said to me, they were like, hey, what would it take for you to execute on some of the ideas around media and education like you talked about? And I said I needed a building big enough to host a podcast studio, a gym section to record stuff in, I need a couple of a big room so I could have a massive editing bay and people editing in there. I need to have more people editing clips. We need to have some sort of decentralized way for us to uptake data and media from other sources that are out there on the streets, capturing content for us. And all of that would need to be in the same room. I think if you're going to run a really successful like education and company around media, like you definitely need to, if I'm bringing a big named guest in, like if I'm going to have Andrew Huberman and we're going to like debate CrossFit, then that needs to be done in person without a question. You cannot do those podcasts remotely like we're doing right now. I don't think that's a good idea. Secondly, when that podcast is going on live, like while I'm recording in there, it doesn't necessarily need to be a live show, but even if I'm recording for post-production, I have a sound engineer that's in there making sure it's going well, an overall production manager, and then I have one or two people editing clips in real time while it's going on. So that way, from every single episode that comes out, I got a bunch of clips, I got a bunch of short clips, and I'm going to put those everywhere. YouTube Shorts, Instagram, I'm putting it on TikTok to reach that younger generation. I'm making sure it's on Spotify, making sure it's on Apple, and it needs to be done in a way that is like quick. You can't say, oh, we recorded this, and then a month later it's going to get edited, and then it's going to take another month for it to go through everybody to do their checks and look at it, make sure it's on brand and all of that. And then from there, we'll hire somebody to do some sub clips, and then we'll make that person. But then that's going to go through a round of edits. It's like, no, my goodness. You have to put in people that know what they're doing, that you could just trust to just get the work done. Like speed matters so much in terms of the media. So like, again, if I'm doing that Andrew Huberman podcast, by the time I've finished that thing, I already have clips ready to go. We already have teaser clips that are coming up. We already have the hook and we know what that's going to be at the beginning of the episode. We're already putting that together. Everything's getting lined up. We already have our date that it's going to be published coming up. Hey, we recorded this on a Tuesday. This will be released on Thursday. This will be released tomorrow if we needed to. So in order to do stuff like that, you need to have everybody in the same room and focused around the same exact strategy of how they're going to break that media down. Then I think on top of that, you have multiple different people that are doing it. You have to have somebody who is more like Jenny, like a dense updates type, but at the fitness industry like in total, and not necessarily like the TMZ style stuff, but her ability to take like a bunch of content that's happening in the space and distill it down to a few minutes to just be like, here's everything that's going on. Like I would also have one of those that is coming from CrossFit, not around the community, but around health and fitness at large. Like, hey, there's this new drug on the market. Here's this information about it. Hey, this opened here, this opened there. So that way you're also becoming this information source for all things health and fitness. All things health and fitness. And the main focus is to just actually do the job of finding out the truth about it, leaving your opinion out, and then just having that news cycle just constantly be going.